Hi, hello. Welcome to another episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is May 17th, 2023. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, your host, I'm doing pretty good. We're loosey, we're goosey, we're in a good mood. You could say maybe we've pre-gamed a little too hard. So hard that I'm not going to be drinking on this one. We're definitely doing a Cali sober episode today, folks. At least for the actual episode, yes. But today is a good day. We can start with the food corner because that was a doozy. For Asian Appreciation Month, Asian Heritage Appreciation Month. I think that's how it's called. Maybe part of it, whatever. We had a whole like food thing at work, and there was a bunch of food. I think it was catered. I don't know. I'm gonna eat anything though. I don't care. But it was like kind of like a potluck style situation, and they were just like feeding us food all day. And if you're not familiar with the usual setup, it's based off a ticket, and you put your ticket in a little thing. They give you a plate, and it's almost like not a buffet style because they'll like put the food on your plate, but you go through, you pick what you want. So this time, your boy got lucky. We got our own little. I know these aren't real heists, but this is as close as I'm gonna get to heisting. Okay, and I will get over it, and I will find someone to give me their ticket. And this time I got lucky. No resistance. The old person who isn't gonna eat the food anyway because he's wanted to make a shitty little dumb dog joke. There were so many people making dumbass fucking dog jokes. I'm so sick of that shit. It's not funny. It's not funny. Oh, is there a dog in here? Ugh, whatever. So he deserved to give me his ticket. He shouldn't have gotten curry that day, and I'm glad about that. Okay, I did. I ate twice. I got samosas. I had like all kinds of noodles, two kinds of rice. Okay, someone's got to break down to me the fried chicken thing, because I've noticed that there's a trend that Asians are making a lot of fried chicken. I mean, obviously Korean fried chicken, that's a thing. Totally, whatever, awesome. I love me some Korean fried chicken. We talked about that. But there was just fried chicken. And I was like, that's interesting. There's also another kind of like almost like peppered coated chicken that was really good. There was so much food. I think there was like a fried shrimp thing that I ate. So much. I'm missing a lot of food. But I think the most interesting thing was it was this meat pasta. I think it might have had two kinds of meat, maybe it was just one. But I know there was like hot dog pieces in there. And I was like, okay, that's interesting because I've seen that from like Jollibee, but that Jollibee's not like in Ohio, so I only can like just kind of like see pictures and wonder what that's like. But all of it was really good, very yummy, and I enjoyed it so much. I had it twice, and honestly, this is one of the first times where like I got a second plate and I knew I wasn't gonna eat it all, because we're gonna get to the second part of my day. But I wound up going out on a Wednesday. I know, very odd, but so we did all this. We ate all this food, and now I'm good. So I'm beating the food math allegations for drinking because I'm gonna go out drinking tonight, and I went out drinking. And I'm actually not gonna drop the name of the place because I'm kind of realizing like not like I'm blowing up, but like there are people who aren't my friends technically who might listen to this or whatever. So I don't want to like spoil every place I go to eat, especially if it's like specific. It's too local. So whatever. I went to this tap house, and it had a outdoor area that was really nice. They had like astroturfed kind of grass, little bit of Connect Four, like large Connect Four you could play for kids, I think, and I mean, I'm sure adults play too, whatever. Cornhole, that's such an Ohio staple. So it had all the bells and whistles, all the accoutrements. But I got to have some beers, and that was nice. I had like one. It was like pretty much all IPAs except for one. Had some like Bavarian Hypervescent or whatever the fuck it's called. But all good beers. Had a good time, good vibes. So I had a nice day. I can say, hey, like I'm reporting in a little bit late, and obviously this is going to be maybe a little bit of a rougher episode because, like I said, I'm already loose with the goose. But good day, good vibes. So enough about me. Let's go ahead and get in. Oh, actually, no. Before we get into some news, let me balance things out. Let me take a trip to California. Man, man. Let me not keep singing before people think I'm Katy Perry on the beat. Also, remember to stay hydrated. Very important, very important. All right, from the Associated Press. New Mexico high school student killed 3 women in random school shooting rampage, police say. So, another week in America. The gunman who killed 3 people and wounded 6 others as he fired randomly while roaming his northwestern New Mexico neighborhood was a high school student. And his victims include a 97-year-old woman and her daughter, police said Tuesday. Investigators were still trying to determine a motive for the attack by Bo Wilson, 18 years old, in the Farmington neighborhood where he lived. They say he opened fire Monday, killing Gwendolyn Schofield, her 73-year-old daughter, Melody Ivy, I'm sorry, and 79-year-old Shirley Voita. Voita had worked as a nurse and was a devoted parishioner at Sacred Heart Catholic Church. And then they have a little bit more to say about her. Then they go on to talk about witnesses and police say Wilson walked through the neighborhood a short drive from downtown Farmington, spraying bullets until police arrived within minutes and fatally shot him. 2 police officers were wounded. Were among the wounded. So, a lot of shit just unfolded. It's crazy how, you can just have a quiet, normal day and then someone just comes through with fucking few firearms, and, one of them being a fucking assault rifle, and life's just over. It doesn't seem like there's a motive out yet. I don't know. Let's see. There's a quote here, and this is maybe me coming off as an asshole, but let me cook, I guess, whatever. But it just goes to show you never really know somebody until something happens, Brown said. He seemed like an okay kid. And I really think this is almost like a burnout. And like there's a person, the retired principal, who like talks about like finding a way to win. Like, and it's just one of those things where I just feel like people are so tired and so upset, and like when the situation actually falls on you, you just don't like. It is crazy. It is sad, and you really. And I'm not saying this person is not cooking here. They're not wrong, but it's like, yeah, I guess you really don't know that someone's a homicidal killer until they just decide to do it. I mean, it's crazy and it's sad that like everyone has the tools and the means to do it. It's just like a couple of paychecks away, and you could just have a gun and you could just be this fucking crazy person. I'm using bad vernacular here, bad terminology, whatever, but I don't know. I'm frustrated at finding ways to tackle this shit, cover this shit, and I'm sure everyone else is, It's very sad, obviously. The loss of life sucks. The people who are wounded, that sucks. And it's a shame that it just feels like this is an ongoing nightmare that none of us are gonna wake up from. Let me not just keep dwelling on that shit. We move on to another fucking problem, another fucking issue. Also from the Associated Press. Abortion after 12 weeks banned in North Carolina after GOP lawmakers override governor's veto. Now, we literally covered this the other day. I was a little bit late to the coverage. But as of Wednesday, none of the Republicans balked. None of them changed. It turns out they were just telling a little bit of a fib about, wanting to keep the abortion laws that they said, no, we don't want to change these. But it turns out they're willing to vote the party line. I think I do have a quote from our lovely Trisha Cotham. If I can find it. The more I think about this person, the more I get upset. Um, I'm not surprised. I've seen the Kirsten cinemas of the world, so I get it. You're gonna do that at a big level. You're gonna do it at a state level. You know what I mean? But to just every time when you look at these people's histories, especially when they hop on this liberal track and they say, "Hey, no, I'm with you guys. Like, I want you to vote me in because I want to take your voice and I want to make sure it actually carries into the office." And this person said, "No, I don't want to do that anymore. I want to make this about me. I want to make this about the attention and the clout I'm getting. I want to make sure that I feel secure and I don't want to feel quote unquote bullied." And she just completely 180s. And now, as a person who is literally saying, "Hey, I'm going to fight for your right. I'm going to fight for your abortion's right. I want to make sure that we keep things the way they are because these are good." Initially having it 20 weeks. But now she's saying that this 12-week ban, quote unquote, strikes a reasonable balance, that anyone not holding extremist positions on abortion can support. So it's like, I'm sorry, there's nothing that changed. Like, I refuse to believe that this is some kind of oh yeah, the Dems were just so mean to her, so bad, they treated her so poorly. Like, no, when they literally her own staff, former staff, I guess, before they left high and dry, were like, no, like she had a chip on her shoulder and she didn't feel like she was getting the recognition that she deserved, and that the Republicans were cheering for her harder, and that the mean old liberals weren't cheering and patting her back hard enough and didn't support her Christian views or whatever. And she just kept just drumming herself up so that she could get herself in a situation where she's like, yeah, just I want them to pick me. I'm gonna move teams. And there's no repercussions for this. Like, you completely betray your own constituents, something that you hear these people talk about time and time again. And here we are. But really, this isn't a one woman show or one person show. There were any one of those Republicans could have stood by their word, and we wouldn't be here. But instead they threw it back on Cooper and they said, no, he didn't explain it well enough. We've actually are putting millions of dollars into contraception. So yeah, think about that. We're trying to make sure that people don't get pregnant, actually. Wrap it up. It's just so frustrating, dude. Like, at the end of the day, these are human rights that you are stripping away from human beings. Like, I don't care what your religion is. I don't care what your views are. Like, that just should be inalienable. Like, that should just be a concrete thing, But instead, motherfuckers want to talk about free speech and they want to talk about their right to bear arms. But meanwhile, they also want to just fucking control women's vaginas. Like, I don't get it. It's so upsetting to me that we're so quote unquote far along in advance as a American people, society, culture, but we want to do this draconian ass shit. And in North Carolina, they think they're doing people a favor with saying it's 12 weeks and not 6 weeks. I cannot stress this enough. I am being as middle of the road Marvin about this shit when I say 6 weeks is not enough time. You do not know you are pregnant. It is a miracle, to quote conservatives, it is a miracle to know that, to figure that out, to get that information Johnny on the spot, okay? Because that is the lowest of windows where people can figure that kind of thing out. Really, it takes longer. So maybe you're lucky in about 8-9 weeks, you're like, oh shit, I'm pregnant as fuck. That means you have to scramble. You have 4 weeks left to figure out your shit. And if you don't, guess what? There's no real place for you to run to in the South. This was kind of the last bastion. South Carolina's in a very similar boat. And yeah, I mean, now you have to sink in more money and more time to travel to some other place and get that coordinated. And they're already packed to the gills with people trying to get the same thing that you're getting. When this could be solved in your own state, your own way, and you wouldn't have to, you're already going through it. You shouldn't have to sacrifice more time, more money. And it makes it so like if you don't have money and you find out you're pregnant, you're just fucked. You're literally deserted. You're isolated. And these are all laws made by people who really don't give a shit anyway. That if their child or person in their family had to have an abortion, they would just pay for the money. It wouldn't hurt them. It wouldn't set them back. Shit, hell, no one would even know. It would just be a vacation for the person. I know. I'm stewing again. I'm sorry. Let's just fucking move along. But boo. Tomato tomato to Gotham. Fuck you. We don't like you here. You're not invited to the cookout. No food for you. No soup for you. All right. From Yahoo News. OpenAI CEO Sam Altman testifies before the Senate. 4 key takeaways. So AI is trending in a major way. We talked about it a little bit, but obviously it seems like every month or so I see a newer version, a newer update, and it's just getting slicker and better. And I don't mean that in like a good way. I will say though, with the situation with Sam Altman coming to do this little testify thing or whatever before the Senate Judiciary Committee. I liked his approach. I felt like he seemed as open as you kind of could be as a CEO. It didn't feel like he was hiding any kind of ulterior motive. He is even saying like, look, I have concerns about the future of AI. I think it's a very good thing, but in the wrong hands, this can be a very dangerous tool that can do a lot of damage. So I think it's good that he has that kind of understanding. There was also other people who came alongside him to talk. There was IBM's Christina Montgomery, the chair of the company's AI ethics board, and Gary Marcus, a critic of the artificial intelligence who teaches at a New York university. He goes to uni. So here are the takeaways. Let's kind of do a little quick rundown before we move to the last thing. Congress has failed to meet the moment on social media. Agreed. Granted, they fail to meet the moment on anything technology because they come through with this like hot bluster, like, hey, we want to make sure that you guys are doing the thing. But then they'll let big tech, they'll let lobbyists or whatever talk them out of it doing anything. And then they just sit on their hands and then a problem comes up and then they call these people back and they're like, oh my gosh, things are so crazy. Why aren't you fixing shit? And we're going to get involved and the cycle kind of completes itself. Like I said, at least in the situation, it was nice to kind of hear a CEO say, hey, no, there's definitely holes in the fence and we need to fix them because this shit is growing at a very alarmingly quick rate now that we are, we have it out in the open. We're working on it. They were even so impressed. They're like, oh my gosh, do you want to like job? You want a job here? And he's like, no, I run OpenAI. Like I'm getting like real fucking money. You losers. I don't want a government, unless you're giving me a government bill, get the fuck out of my face. No, he didn't say that last part, but it's one of those things where this did seem like an even heeled conversation. And I kind of like that part at least. That being said, they still did the head ass thing. Like one of the guys, he let me just read this little part here. This made me annoyed. In his opening remarks, which were partially generated by artificial intelligence, Senator Richard Blumenthal, Democratic senator of Connecticut, acknowledged Congress's struggle to impose meaningful regulations on social media. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do the I actually talked to ChatGPT myself. Yeah, I get it. I can log into a computer. Congrats, bro. Like, we all did that. You don't need to do that for your job as a senator. Just don't do that. Do that in your own time. Don't mention that. Also, there's another senator who made an off the cuff remark about like, yeah, AI is going to be replacing us. Like I could probably replace my staff right now. And they like nervously laughed. And she's like, of course I'm not going to do that. And it's like, dude, yeah, that's a cringy ass joke to make. You're not funny. Stop Dave Chappelling. Quit. Type 5, delete. So that was whatever, but like agreed. You guys have missed the moment and now you're playing catch up. But I honestly would say the second that a group like Microsoft, and they wanted to do the Bing chatbot thing and they were going to push this technology, once you open the box, you can't put Pandora back in it. You know what I mean? That's wise words. All right, what was the next point? Some jobs will transition away. So that was a bit of kind of what I was talking about, like how people were making the jokes. And this is just like a kind of sad, annoying, frustrating situation of like, we are hastening our own replacements in so many fucking ways with this AI technology, because naturally corporations are gonna go out of their way to quote unquote streamline the whole process and have technology just do the job, do the work. You know what I mean? We have that as a big talking point in the writer strike. Like, people are so confused. Like, why is this AI thing such a big sticking point for these streaming services? Like, why are they not backing down there? And it's because it's a linchpin for them to pay the writers as little as possible, and then just source the work to like a showrunner and like a couple other people to type on a chat bot that they have in office that they're paying, you know, a software developer or whatever for. And this is going to be their fucking, you know, easy lick. Now, that's probably going to bite them in the ass. The writing's going to be fucking terrible. But like, hell, haven't we all fucking just watched Marvel movie after Marvel movie after Marvel fucking movie? Like, I can understand if you're a big fucking, you know, streaming corporation like a Netflix or whatever, you're like, no. The AI is going to stick around. We want to see what we can do with it. And worst case scenario, we'll just go back to you fucking peasants and we'll pay you. Obviously, it's fucked up, but like, this is going to be a big battleground issue. I think that the writers who are striking are right to fight for this and not give it up. You know, it's more than just the money. Which is already still low, but it's scary to think how, like, I've heard this about doctors, how like we're having this discussion already about is it better to have not to completely make the doctor obsolete, but to have a doctor run a scripted conversation for a patient, like, hey, I'm reading your chart, we need to get you on this, and this, and you need to do this, and this, and things will get better. Now, that's what a patient needs to hear. And maybe for some people, that's nice because you don't have to, like, talk to an annoying doctor who seems annoyed to even talk to you and is, like, looking at you like you're a car or a piece of meat anyway. So it's nice to just say, hey, thanks for giving me the brass tacks. I'll go do that. I'll take this prescription and things will be better. But, like, an AI is just running an algorithm, is just running the script. Like, there are potential nuances that a human being could miss or could get either way. Like, there are pros and cons to this shit. So I still would like a human in the room. I still would like a human doctor to talk to the whole way. Like, yeah, maybe the AI is going to be a good guide rail system, but that's kind of what we're talking about here. These are the pitfalls of it. Like, also just going to bad actors. That's a whole other thing. Before we get to this, last point, I believe. Well, there's two more points. Sorry. But it's, I think AI does have good uses. And I don't mean that as like, oh, it's just a great replacer, but I mean like it has cool little nuances that could make things better. It can be a nice companion tool to use to, like, I don't know, run off ideas, yada, 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 like a organic style notebook. I don't fucking know. But in bad hands, they're talking about like, oh, this could like further destroy our fucking, you know, belief in the election system. Like shit like that. And I'm like, yeah, I could totally see some old ass boomer motherfucker getting told to go to the wrong place to vote, or like this, that, and the third, and they'll believe it because they think this is like some real person on the other line sending them a text message or having this audio with them. Who fucking knows, man? It's a dark world. And it is very digital. But this is not social media. This is different. I don't know. I think this definitely rings true because I think Congress is going to try to treat this like it's Facebook, like it's Twitter. But it's like you guys are already miles behind on that. And this is a completely other lane that you're trying to get to, and you're trying to use that logic. Like, you guys literally don't even know how Wi-Fi fucking works. So this is like already a fucking head scratcher. But I mean, hopefully that, yeah, they can hopefully kind of get the understanding that like you need to understand this is a whole new thing and we need to handle it differently. And you can't let people come in here with this whole move fast, break things mentality. But to my balking at that is that's how we got here, dog. So like, I'm not blaming him for it. I think it's kind of all lumped in. People were chomping at the bit to get their tech out so they could get some money on it. But yeah, once we start talking about this on a massive scale, we start talking about it like it's the VR thing. Like this is different because like VR just has personal walls that like people just they once they try it, they go, "Oh, I can't get into this. I'm just done. Like I don't want to wear this annoying ass Oculus Rift to like be in a fucking Wii Sports world." Like it's lame as fuck. But like the idea of like running conversation with something that almost, at least to some people, in an uncanny way feels real, like you're having an almost conversation. I can see it. I see it in my friends sometimes. I see it in just randoms when they engage in it. I mean, we talked about the one guy who was like, "Oh my God, is chat AI trying to fuck me?" He was fun. He was so in the weeds over that. What was it Kevin Roos or whatever the fuck, man? It's trying to take me away from my wife. So yeah, you just got to understand that the learning curve is pretty steep here, and you got to catch up. And I don't think they will. But then last thing, humanity has taken a back seat. And this was like kind of focused from the Marcus NYU professor guy. And I mean, yeah, but we can kind of argue that this was only a matter of time. They really just want to grind us into fucking mulch goo anyway and have a robot serve the 1%ers hamburgers. So who knows? We're going to get there. We're going to get to our Wally world one little tread at a time. All right, we got one more thing to cover. And then I'll let you go. Finish out this hump day. Okay. All right, from CNN style. 5 men convicted for audacious 103. Oh God, I can't. $123 million jewels heist in Dresden. Sorry, excuse me. Whew. 5 men have been sentenced to several years in prison for their role in the $123 million heist that captured the world's attention for its brazenness, public broadcaster MDR reported Tuesday. Now, I initially actually realized, as I was listening to this, researching it, I'm like, I've heard this story before. And I've referenced this. I listened to this podcast called Heist Podcast. They no longer are making podcasts, but one that they covered was this Dresden heist. And definitely kind of like, okay, cool, perfect. So I'm familiar at least a little bit with it. But crazy that, you know, we're finally like getting a verdict and things like that. But let's read a little bit further. 4 of the defendants received lighter sentences because they had partially confessed and some treasures were returned. But not all. So, and they do believe that the ones that are missing, they just won't be found. Most likely too, the way that it works, especially when it comes to like jewels, like they're going to get picked apart, scrapped, fenced as hard as they can. And I mean, yeah, there's no way you're finding it whole, most likely, even if you were to find it. Which is saying, I mean, obviously these are like, you know, awesome, legendary, historic monuments, whatever, like super blinged out items. I don't know. I'm too much of a sucker for a good heist to be like, damn, like this is bad. Like I soak it up. This was a crazy story. Also, the 6th defendant was acquitted, but the gang broke into the historic Green Vault in Dresden on November 25th, 2019. That's another thing too. I don't know why I feel this way, but I always think like of heist as like the days of yore. Like Heat era was like the last time people were doing heists. So like I don't know, like late 80s, early 90s in my head. I don't know why I'm like this, but no, people have tried heists in the aughts, you know? So yeah, this took place November 25th, 2019. But CCTV camera footage showed two masked thieves smashing the glass and grabbing 21 diamond studded artifacts. So it's like almost like they do all the work, they do all the fucking research and the heist pre shit, but at the end of the day, like the way they go about it is just so smash and grab, like just so brute force. And I always go, oh, this is gonna end poorly for you. Like to me, like if you're not doing Ocean's 11 on your heist, then you're done. Like more times than not, you're done anyway. They're gonna figure you out. Like the it's just so hard to not leave a trace, to not fuck up. You know what I mean? Not to mention more times than not, like you have the might of the state on you on site. Like the second you do it, like you're not usually just getting into these lucky happenstance situations. But the vault featured an astounding collection of historical jewelry and precious ornaments, from shimmering bowls carved out of crystal and agate to jeweled figurines and goblets fashioned from gilded ostrich eggs. So it's like, oh, so opulent, so deculent. And I'm just like, yeah, this shit's just begging to be stolen. Not that we support crime on the podcast. No, we don't. No, we don't. But I'm like, I don't know, man. It's just crazy. You just got this shit posted up. But one of the most famous pieces of the collection, a 41 carat green diamond known as the Dresden Green, was not in the museum at the time, being on a loan to the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York City. So, footage released by Saxony police showed two people wearing dark clothes moving quickly through the gallery using flashlights. One of them uses an axe to break the glass. The video shows it takes the perpetrator at least 9 hits before the glass breaks. A nearby electrical fire knocked out street lights in the area at around the time of the robbery. So, thinking. In just a few minutes, some of the world's most valuable historic jewels had vanished. Only some of the loot has been since recovered. The director of Dresden's state art collection, Marian Ackerman, said their material value doesn't even begin to reflect their incalculable historical and cultural importance. Nearly all the stolen artifacts were made during the rule of Frederick Augustus III, the last elector of Saxony, who was later known as Frederick Augustus I, the first king of Saxony. Ooh. Don't get me wrong, I love history. I listen to history shit like every day. But then sometimes I just go, yeah, but like, I am never rooting for these pieces of shit. Like, I always am like, yeah, but you like did this while literally poor people were dying. Tale as old as time. They included the 1780s hat class decorated with 15 large and more than 100 small diamonds, as well as 96 centimeter or 38 inch sword. The sword is sick, actually. And scabbard or sheath, which together contain more than 800 diamonds. Like the hilt is, I couldn't get the hilt in the thumbnail, so you definitely should look it up. But the sword is pretty cool. That would be like the thing I'd want. Let's see. Let's go ahead and get to the sentencing. The defendants were all a part of the infamous Remo clan. I think it's Remo clan. One of Germany's most powerful crime families, which operates mostly in Berlin. Rybeth Remo, one of the main perpetrators, will serve 6 years and 2 months in prison. Wisem Remo received 6 years and 3 months, while Bashir Remo was sentenced to 5 years and 10 months. Another person was sentenced to 4 years and 4 months in prison under juvenile criminal code. So he was a little youngin'. Also, like, just some of the hiding they used was like this big book style cover thing they were just using to like hide the identities of the people and shit. It's kind of weird. I imagine maybe that was just like the juvenile they were hiding. But The 4 defendants had made confessions and returned part of the loot. The 5th defendant was sentenced to 5 years of juvenile detention, with the inclusion of an earlier conviction. The 24-year-old denied his involvement in the burglary until the very end. He claimed to have participated in obtaining tools used to commit the crime, such as the axes. The 5 defendants say they did not know where the missing jewels are. So, yeah, RIP to that. But yeah, there's not much else to really read there. I'm going to let it go there. But yeah, crazy fucking heist. But that's all we got. Oh man, I ran too long. I ranted and rambled. But thank you so much for tuning in. I do have a Patreon if you'd like to support financially. Patreon.com/Isaiah News. Get you access to the bonus episodes. Also get you the hot link to the Discord. Discord is free though. Do the newsy shout outs at the top of the month. I say your name. I will do also a plug for the project you're doing. Also, you can hit me up at freeways, IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. Also, I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitter. Feel free to DM me. Feel free to get in the comments. Like a post, subscribe, do all the fun things, rate, review, tell a friend. Talk to your friend, which is me. Like I said, hit me up. I love talking about news. Homies hit me up with like random links or random photos, and I just like, oh shit, that's just going off. Tell me about it. And like I said, news and history, because history is just old news. Think about it. All right. That's all I got for today. Hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love you. Bye-bye. Mwah.